I know you like me. I know you do. That's why whenever I come around, she's all over you. And I know you want it. It's easy to see. And in the back of your mind, I know you should be on with me. Don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me? Don't you wish your girlfriend was a freak like me? Don't you? Hey everybody, welcome to the first episode of the Tap 2 podcast, and as the name suggests, you may think, hey, we're going to talk about Magic the Gathering, and we are, don't worry about that, but we're also going to talk about pretty much anything, whatever's on the mind, what are we playing, what's going on in gaming news, comic book news, movie news. It's just a random podcast for, if you don't have enough random podcasts to listen to already, I know there's not enough out there, but we're going to throw just one more out there, and hopefully you listen. If you have any suggestions, just put them in the comments section below the YouTube video. I'm going to be posting at least once a week, sometimes more, and I've also, in future plans, got a small production company going, Tap 2 Productions. Just me and a couple of friends trying to get some small videos done, funny stuff, interesting stuff, just whatever. You got any suggestions for whatever, please put them in the comments below. Well, first of all, I want to start off with news. The news, the most important thing of the day, and what's more important than world news? The most hard-hitting stories that come from nydailynews.com. And the news of the day from nynews.com. Both the Chinese government and the cosmetics company responsible for a controversial advertisement are offering their takes on the response to a video that has racked up over 8 million views online, with some viewers calling the ad racist. Some viewers. That's my conjecture. Some viewers. We express our apology for the harm caused to the African people because of the spread of the ad and the over-amplification by the media. Shanghai-based Leisheng Cosmetics said in a statement, "We sincerely hope the public and the media will not overread it." Now, what happens, and I'm sure maybe you've seen this already on YouTube or somewhere else, I don't know, but it's a laundry ad where this Chinese woman puts a black guy with paint all over his face into the washing machine with this Chinese laundry detergent, and he comes out as this clean-cut Asian businessman, which you know what, I'm pretty much going to leave it at that. I'm no political correctness kind of monitor. I don't see anything they got to change. If you don't want to buy their detergent, that's great. If you do, that's great too. I just think it's just hilarious that somebody would come up with such a dumb idea. Oh, good Lord. And they think that they could get away with something like that. I mean, how many yes men were in that business meeting? How many guys were saying, oh, that's a great idea. Well, they're black. Well, let's clean them up and they'll be Asian. Yeah, that was smart. Anyway, going on to the most important thing in my life. Not really, I'm just kidding. But we're going to what have I been playing recently? What have you been playing? Of course, leave in the comments below. I've been playing Uncharted, and I beat it. Uncharted 4, I should say, for the PS4, obviously. It's an exclusive. If you never played the Uncharted series before, you probably have never owned a PlayStation, so you probably have already tuned me out. But it's about a guy named Nathan Drake. He gets in all kinds of adventures. A lot of people say he's kind of like Indiana Jones meets Lara Croft. It's probably right, I guess. It's just an awesome game where you go globe-trotting around the globe, as the globe-trotting name suggests, and you shoot a heck of a lot of people. I like to think that at the end of the day, Nathan Drake has a hard time getting to sleep, because he's a regular guy, and sure, he's in fantastical situations, hunting for pirate treasure, and getting in all sorts of perilous situations. But in this last particular entry into the series, I killed a lot of dudes, and I feel like just a regular guy, no matter where he is in his life, regardless of the fact that he's in these situations, I feel like if you kill no less than, I got a trophy for killing 30 people just silently. He killed at least 30 dudes just like that. Got a lot of headshots. I just have a hard time believing that he sleeps at night very well. Probably takes a lot of Ambien. Anyway, the game's great. I ain't gonna spoil anything. But I beat it, kind of. I had bought Dark Souls 3, loving it by the way, still haven't beat it. But I didn't really have the cash to get Uncharted 4. So what I did was just rent it from Redbox, rented it 3 times, and just thought that I would beat it. But at 4 in the morning, and I had to get up and go to work at 7, I was like, you know what, I'm probably just gonna go to bed. I'll take this back tomorrow. And I looked up the ending on YouTube, and I feel fine about it. 10 year ago me would have kicked my butt for saying I'm okay with knowing the ending to a game without beating it myself, but screw that noise. I got things to do and get done, and now I've added a podcast to it. I got to get some stuff done, so I got the experience out of it. I cannot recommend the game enough. If you own a PlayStation 4, which numbers say you probably do, if you own a PlayStation 4, I highly recommend getting this game. I know you don't need the recommendation of some random guy that probably you've never met before, but you need to get this game. Anyway, what is going on in video games in the industry as a whole? I'm no expert, and I get most of my video game and any other news from podcasts. By the way, can't recommend enough Podcast Beyond and the IGN network. Pretty much anything that Kinda Funny Games does. Let me see, I've been listening to Hello from the Magic Tavern. I just discovered that one the other day, and I'm about 40 episodes in, and they, let me see, I think they just put out their 64th or 65th episode the other day. I'm not sure, but haven't got there yet, but please listen to that. That's hilarious. It's about a guy that fell through a wormhole behind a Burger King and into a different land, a magical land of Foon it's called, and he randomly had his podcasting equipment, so instead of trying to get back home, he's just sitting there at a tavern once a week called the Vermilion Minotaur with a wizard and a shapeshifter, and he does a podcast once a week. They interview magical creatures. It's really good. It's really funny. But anyway, back to what I was saying. I get most of my news from podcasts as far as video game news goes, and what seems to be going right now is E3. I'm sure you already know, is just losing people left and right. It's just not as big as it used to be, and why should it be? I mean, we're at a point right now where anybody can get on the internet and just find out this news for themselves. And these video game companies, they go and they spend millions of dollars at E3 for booth space right next to someone else that's spending millions of dollars to be there. Why would they give a crap? They're sharing the spotlight with these companies, while they could, like EA, just take those millions of dollars and hold their own venue somewhere else, or hold their own conference at some other venue, have all the spotlight. It makes sense. I mean, I ain't trying to play devil's advocate for EA or anything, but I mean, it sounds like the right thing to do, because who wants to wait for a solid year to get their main video game news? I remember waiting for a year when I was in high school 14 years ago. I remember waiting, every year, and after E3 come out, you heard that E3 happened. You might have heard the biggest news, but then you had to wait a month almost for the new Game Informer magazine, or the new EGM, or the PlayStation. And at the time, if you were into those magazines, they're freaking expensive, so you had to probably just get one. Lord forbid you actually have a subscription to the thing for an entire year. But anyway, now you don't have to do that. As soon as the news happens, a company can save millions of dollars. Instead of going to this huge conference, a company can save millions of dollars and just put their stuff online, and people instantly have it. So what's the point of E3 anymore? Well, I think, like a heck of a lot of people do, just like my opinion matters, but I think that there is still a place for it, but it's got to be toned down a heck of a lot. There's maybe open it more up to the public. Do different things. It don't have to go away. It just needs to change, anyway, just like anything. Okay, so aside from all that E3 junk, Nintendo NX. Okay, so I'm a huge PlayStation fan. Love it. I like Xbox One. Don't have one, but I like it. Anyway, with Nintendo, I realized the other day that I didn't own a PlayStation 1 personally until I bought one after I got married, 9 years ago. My brother had one, so I didn't have the need to buy one. I had an N64 at the time. And I didn't even have a PlayStation 2 until 2004 when I graduated high school. And that was because somebody bought it for me for a graduation present. I had my brother's PlayStation 2 that I could use, but I was a Nintendo guy. I had an N64, and then I went to my GameCube, and that was it for me. I remember saying, I'm a Nintendo guy. I'm not going to get the PlayStation. I'm going to opt for the Nintendo system. I'm a Nintendo guy. Game Boy Pocket, Game Boy Color, all this. I was a Nintendo guy. When the DS come around, Nintendo guy. I had a Vita. Never had a Vita. I had a PSP, but I was a Nintendo guy. Now, fast forward to now, PlayStation 3 era on, I was a Sony guy, 100%. I was in it. Bought the games. My frustration comes from, I want to be a Nintendo guy again. I want Nintendo to get off their butts and get their heads out of their butts and everybody's wanting to make America great again. Whatever. Let's make Nintendo great again, guys. If they could just get back to what I ain't even trying to offer a solution. I have no idea why I was a Nintendo guy. I just really loved it. I loved the games. I loved the characters. Probably Zelda more than anything else. Legend of Zelda. But let's get back to what made us all love the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo, the N64, and to an extent the GameCube. And let's all buy the Nintendo NX blindly, and then in 2 years wish we hadn't, like everybody did with the Wii and the Wii U. Anyway, yeah, I know that's long-winded, but I'll probably cut that entire segment out because was incoherent. Anyway, this week in Magic, and that is referring to Magic the Gathering, talking about, the podcast being called Tab 2. Get on magic.wizards.com, and you're going to see that the card of the day is Avarax. Probably the way you say that, not sure. But Avarax has haste. It is red creature. It is a red creature. It is a 3 colorless 2 Mountain for said that backwards. It's a 3/3 for 3 colorless and 2 mountain, and it has haste, and it is a beast. Let's see. When Avarax comes into play, you may search your library for a card named Avarax, reveal it, and put it into your hand. If you do, shuffle your library for 1 colorless and 1 mountain. Avarax gets +1/+0 until end of the turn, and it's from the Onslaught set way back in the day. And the flavor text is I'll read it with an accent. So you think Squadron Hawk is so great, huh? I eat Squadron Hawks as part of a balanced breakfast and then attack. Avarax translated from a cacophony of unintelligible bellowing, and that's a lot of big words. Anyway, have no idea if the card's good or not. Must have been to be the card of the day. I really like Magic the Gathering. I have a couple of friends that are really good at it. Tony, you know what I'm saying. But I suck at it. I won't go into any enormous detail on it, but I actually have built a angel deck cobbled together from different sets throughout time, and I thought it was okay, not too bad. And then I loaned it to a friend because he didn't bring his cards, and we were playing, and he absolutely mopped the floor with me. He had an army, a freaking legion of angels out in like 5 turns, and made them all invincible. And I didn't know you could do that. And where was I? Oh yeah, Legion of Angels. Had to pause there for a second, guys. Sorry about that. So my friend had a Legion of Angels out that was indestructible, and he mopped the floor with me. And granted, again, I'm not a very good Magic player, but I accidentally built a really good deck. So there you go. That really went nowhere, did it? Okay. All right. Next segment. Let's explain a movie. Okay. You guys seen Die Hard before? All right. Die Hard. Best Christmas story ever told. Sure, there's other good ones. The Santa Claus. That's a good one. But I think even better than the Santa Claus is Die Hard 1. So this guy, his name's John McClane. He is going to New York. He's very nervous about flying, and he gets some advice from a guy that is very unfortuitous, I should say. The guy says, "Hey, you nervous about flying? Y'all wound up?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm wound up." He's like, "When you get to your hotel room, you take off your shoes and socks, and you just curl up your toes." He says, "Make fists with your toes in the carpet." You just curl up your toes in the carpet. And he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna do that because I'm all nervous and wound up." So as it turns out, he is going to go find his wife, and he's going to try to help things with their marriage. The marriage is on the rocks. Anyway, so he finds her. Turns out she don't really want him there. She's at this big 80s cocaine-fueled office party in Nakatomi Tower. I think it's Nakatomi Tower. Anyway, I don't remember. Anyway, Nakatomi Tower. So he's in his hotel room. She's doing her thing, and he takes off his shoes and socks, and he's curling his feet. Now, this is an important part. That's why I'm leading with such what seems a minuscule detail. So anyway, he hears some gunshots. Turns out he's a cop. He goes and he gets his gun because for some reason you could fly, with a gun, even if you weren't an air marshal. Back in the 80s, not sure why. But so he gets his gun. He's in the hotel room, gets his gun, and turns out there's these terrorists, and they're not like Iraqi terrorists. They're still Eastern European ones before the Middle Eastern guys were the go-to bad guys. So anyway, they're these Eastern European guys, and then there's some shooting happens. Let's see, Alan Rickman, Cerberus Snape. Just imagine Snape. If you've never seen this movie, I'm sure you've seen Harry Potter. Just imagine Snape is named Hans Gruber, and he goes and he's causing all kinds of crap. He's trying to, what's he getting? Is he getting gold? Anyway, there's something stored in the vault. Something stored in the vault. Anyway, they're trying to get it open. I don't. Why is there a vault in the? Why is there a vault in that skyscraper? That don't make any sense. But there's a vault in there. Okay. So you guys ever seen Walker, Texas Ranger? With the black guy from it, Trevette. He is the computer hacker in this movie, and he's trying to get the vault open. A lot of gunfights happen. Anyway, John McClane gets to the part of the movie. The part of the movie comes around where the no shoes thing really makes a difference. So Hans Gruber notices that John don't have any shoes on. No shoes. He should have been wearing shoes. He notices he ain't got any shoes on. And he tells the guys to shoot the glass. He'll shoot the glass. Anyway, just imagine Snape is saying shoot the glass. So they shoot this glass, and it's the 80s, so of course everything's made out of glass. It's this big office cubicle-y looking thing, and all the glass falls, and then he's got machine gun fire coming at him, so even though he has to run through glass, John McClane runs through glass because he's pretty awesome. And he's picking glass out of his feet. Anyway, at some point he gets a radio and he tries to radio for help. Nobody listens to him at the dispatch, so he ends up throwing a dude from, I don't know, the 50th floor or something onto Carl Winslow. You remember Family Matters? Anyway, the cop Carl from that, and I'm pretty sure he's still Carl. He's just playing a different guy. Anyway, he's a cop, and he is driving around, and he responds to a fire alarm or something. Not sure. And then John McClane throws a guy on the roof of his car, and he's like, "Welcome to the party, pal." And then after that, Carl tells him he shot a kid, and then John McClane's like, "That sucks." And then some other stuff happens, a lot of explosions. A helicopter blows up at one point. Wouldn't it be cool if they really blew up a helicopter just for that movie? Anyway, so then at the very end, Cerberus Snape has John McClane's wife, and they're right against these. Of course, it's the 80s again. Big glass windows, these huge floor-to-ceiling windows, and so John, he's got his hands on the back of his head, and he starts laughing, and Hans Gruber's like, "Why are you laughing?" And he's like, "Ah, ha, 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 ha." And then he says, "Yippee-ki-yay, mother, fornicator." And then he grabs the pistol. I don't know what kind of pistol it is, probably like 9mm, and he shoots the glass out, or he shoots Hans, and it shoots the glass out the back of him, and then he falls out he kind of falls out the window, but he grabs John McClane's wife, and then the watch breaks, and then he falls to his death. And then at the very end, Carl Winslow has to shoot a dude because he wasn't really dead. The end. You're welcome. That is Die Hard. You know what? I think that was word for word the screenplay. Anyway, hey, do you guys want to know about some cool tabletop games? I was looking around and ran across this one in particular. It's from popularmechanics.com. I thought Popular Mechanics just done mechanics things. Apparently they have branched out because they figured out everybody is into nerd culture stuff. So anyway, this is, let's see, this is, daggone it, I done messed it up. Anyway, let me pull this up. Okay, popularmechanics.com, 35 best board games, and this one is Time Stories. As a board game, think of Time Stories as a board game version of the trippy time travel cult movie primer, but with a storyline that's actually comprehensible. In this storytelling game, you and up to 3 friends face off against a deck of cards, cooperating by solving puzzles. God dang it, Tony the Tiger advertisement. Yes, continue. I hate that crap where it just pops up, it's just a pop-up ad, and it's timed so that if you're about to scroll and you accidentally hit the thing. Anyway, most mobile websites do that anymore. It's annoying. Okay, let's see. Face off against a deck of cards, cooperating by solving puzzles, avoiding traps, and slowly unraveling a mysterious plot. The game comes with an initial scenario which revolves around preventing a temporal rift in the Roaring Twenties. Others can be bought as expansions. The kicker is that the game has you repeatedly traveling through time as temporal agents, and then it refers to them as time cops. You guys ever seen maybe I'll go through the plot to Time Cop at some point. It's a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. It's wonderful. Reliving past encounters with new information and items, this mechanic is worked out beautifully. You spend points on a numerical timeline as you play, jolting everyone back to the beginning of the scenario and the deck of cards when you run out of points. Now that sounds pretty cool. The trailer looks really neat on YouTube. So check out Time Stories. It's an acronym. It doesn't give the definition of the acronym. I doubt they have one, but it's just TIME Stories. So that is that. So anyway, like I said before, this has been the first episode of the Tap 2 podcast, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. You guys, gals, whoever the heck wants to listen to it. If you want your kids to listen to it, probably be bored, but they'll be cool with that. I will have some guest hosts with me eventually. I've got a couple of buddies that want to do this with me, so if you guys, again, or if anybody has any suggestions, please give them to me in the comments. I will be reading them. I'm sure there will be some mean ones, but it's the internet. Most of you guys are mean. But some of you are nice and give helpful criticism and suggestions. So just whatever you guys want to listen to, that's what I want to produce. So anyway, you all have a good day, and we'll talk to you later.